Welcome to the Sports Show. Mike Max, Patrick Royce, Lou Nanny back in the fold, and the one and only Sid Hartman. And we start our conversation today about the Minnesota Wild, who lost last night. Sid, I'm having a tough time. I know you can do this easily because you're so invested in hockey, but for those of us that are kind of on the periphery, I'm having a tough time getting engaged in this playoff series.
Here's the point. The hockey genius in town, he's going to Hong Kong.
Does that tell the story or what?
Not even going to be here. They will lose 4 straight. I find my little knowledge of sports, there's something about chemistry of that team that's missing. They don't have what you put together to put a winning team. There's something missing. And now on top of it, they don't have Parisi, they don't have Valak, they don't have a couple other guys. 4 straight.
Okay.
Well, can I say something?
Go right ahead.
This whole idea about chemistry. You know, about 5 years ago, when the Twins couldn't beat the Yankees, the Yankees had this jinx over the Twins. And I walked
in the playoffs.
And I walked
and beyond.
Yeah, I walked in the dugout, and Jeter, A-Rod, Teixeira, and Robinson Cano were sitting there. And I said, I think I found where the jinx, I think I found the source of the jinx.
And you found the source of chemistry.
And that is my whole point.
Chemistry is trotting around the bases with 2 guys.
Chemistry comes after you win.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it comes before.
Dallas has great players.
Yeah, do you think Minnesotans assume the talent level is higher than it is because Parisi and Suter got big contracts? Do you think that fans don't understand that this isn't as talented a team as many in the NHL?
Well, there's some that they're not as talented as, and there's many that they're more talented. Let's face it, they could have won the game last night. They should have won the game last night. They didn't score any goals. And I don't think they're going to lose 4 straight, Sid. You might be right, but they should have won last night, and I think they'll win at home. Now, they do have a problem scoring goals. That been a history before.
Well, that's a huge problem then.
But
in the game
but the last 2 years, they came up and really improved their scoring. They got it, you know. They jumped 10, 15 places in scoring.
It started off like that.
So what happened? They had good chemistry and they were winning. They were deep. They were talented. But when you go through funks, and they've gone through some, and you're not scoring, you start pressing, and having Parisi out of the lineup and Vanek, those are 2 of your better goal scorers. That hurts. Having said that, let's face it, Dallas is the top scoring team in the league. So you really can't get into a shootout with them. You got to play defensive, and that's what they did last night. Conversely, Dallas is one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and their goaltending is only adequate. It might be better in one of these games now, but over the course of the year, that's why they added Niemi. So they're only adequate, and they got a great offensive defenseman, but overall their defense isn't noted as a great defense. So the Wild have an opportunity to win games if they score in their chances, which they didn't do last night.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
When you had the good North Star teams, did they have losing streaks of 5, then win 5, then lose 5? They had that?
By the way, so did Dallas. They just went through a long losing streak before the end of the year. So teams do that. That does happen. But you have to look, and have they got the overall firepower that Dallas has? No. They're the top scoring team in the league. They are the top scoring team, even more than Washington.
Okay, so take me to Dallas and the Wild. What's the difference between the two? Is it 3 players? Is it 2 players? What is it? Well, yeah. If they're the top of the heap and the Wild want to get there, what's missing?
Well, if you get 2 of their goal scorers, you have to be a
okay, but do they have that within? Will Granlund ever be that? Will Coyle ever be that? Well,
Coyle, you're going to be able to count on 20, 30 goals a year. Niederreiter, you'll count on 20, 30 goals a year. Granlund, I don't know. He's never proven to be a 20-goal scorer. He should be scoring more than he does. And Zucker has been really erratic this year because he looked like he was going to be a 20, 30-goal scorer a year. Now, do you have the 30, 40-goal scorer a year? You're always hoping that's Parisi. That's been his history, and it would have been again this year if he didn't get hurt. But you look at Ben led the league in scoring last year and 2nd or 3rd this year. Seguin, the same thing. Spezza, the same thing. When you look at what they got up front, firepower, Dallas is, competes with everybody in the league.
What you're hearing now is people questioning Parisi and Suter's contracts, and Koivu and this.
You knew
whole
that was
deal.
coming. Yep.
Parisi and Suter signing the same day as the greatest thing that ever happened to this organization. They were going back. They were going backwards. Season tickets were going to go down, and this is like saying the Twins shouldn't have signed Mauer. What was the option after the greatest season that a catcher's ever had? Plus, they've made the playoffs 4 times in a row because they have these two guys.
Plus, every team has got $6 and $7 million players. You have you have to spend the money. You have a salary cap.
Right.
You don't only have a maximum; you got a minimum.
Yeah. So that's my whole point. Is Minnesota fans expecting too much because they thought simply with the Parisi and the Suter signings that would elevate them, to a level that we had never seen before.
Well, they have been elevated to a level you hadn't seen before with the Wild. So they've already done that. And by the way, this guy, my esteemed colleague, thought that I wanted to change the Wild name to the North Stars. I said, no, only as a third jersey.
Bring in the tape
this
next
guy,
week
bring it in. This guy doesn't get up early enough to listen.
He knows as much about hockey as I do. I know nothing. But when they signed Sutter and Parise, I figure, well, they're going to dominate the league.
No, nobody thought that.
This goes back to my question.
Nobody thought that. Nobody thought they thought they were going to get back to the playoffs.
I think fans thought conference finals.
No, well, they were very close to the conference finals.
Got swept in the semis last year.
And
in the second
you
round,
and I
they got
both
swept
know,
in 4 games.
I don't care what you say, swept. You and I both know they could have won 3 of those games. They had a bad goal in every game. Don't tell me how they got
Here's
swept.
my theory, though.
You
it's not Suter or Parisi. It's the fact that Coyle, Coyle's been good, but Niederreiter, Zucker, Dumba, Granlund, these guys that were supposed to be above very good have not gotten there yet, but it's too early to say they won't, isn't it?
I don't know. Would you trade Granlund?
Would I trade Granlund? I'd trade anybody if you get the right guy back, but what are you getting back? One thing I asked Sammy Pollock when he was the best, and he's the best general manager
Sid's got something he wants to say.
I said,
here.
when do you get rid of a player? He said, I keep until at least 23 because I want to see how they're progressing.
That's kind of your bar to at least start.
I think that's a good thing.
You said exactly that on the radio the other day before you said we should get the North Star's name back.
No, I didn't say the North Stars.
I said get the North Star's name back.
I'm worried about him now because he's been close to Sid. I think his hearing's going too.
Sid, you had something you wanted to say.
The best player they probably got is one of the lowest paid players in Coyle.
Well,
but he's only
he's young. But he's young. Yeah.
I bet that's the first player they asked for.
Yeah, but he's not going anywhere.
Coyle's already signed. He's not making nothing. They just gave him a 3 or 4 year deal, right?
Yeah, last year he got paid.
5 years.
Yeah, good kid too.
Yep.
Take a break, come back.
Isn't he
I
good?
guess it's.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. RSM. This is the power of being understood. This is RSM. BMW of Minnetonka. Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka. And Bobby and Steve's Auto World. Go to BobbyandStevesAutoWorld.com for huge savings on everything from convenience store items to everything under the hood of your car.
File bankruptcy with no money down. Over 20,000 clients have trusted Hoagland Law Offices. Ask about our $0 down payment plan. Call the offices of Robert Hoagland now for a free consultation at an office near you.
On the next Community.
Me and Abed have an announcement.
Troy and I are living together.
We're registered at Linens and Things.
We have plenty of linens. We mainly want the things.
Monday at 9 on CW-23.
You just don't care how many lives you destroyed. How many people you killed? No, I don't.
His real name is Hunter's Oliver.
He's a convicted serial killer.
He can lock up the darkness.
See it first, Tuesday at 7 on CW-23.
Credit cards and medical bills too much? File bankruptcy with no money down. Over 20,000 clients have trusted Hoagland Law Offices. Call the law offices of Robert Hoagland for a free consultation at an office near you.
An odometer under 15,000 miles and an up to 5-year, 75,000-mile warranty makes it elite. The way it does this makes it a BMW. Introducing BMW Certified Pre-Owned Elite.
Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs?
Fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second-to-none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
J.D. Hoyt's in downtown Minneapolis. Just stopped by there last night, visited with Pat and the gang, had a chicken sandwich with mushrooms only on top, the onion rings at the side, some cheese bread, and I didn't know how good the cornbread was.
What time do they open on Sunday? I might stop.
Yeah, on the way out, man. Welcome back to the show. Let's move down to the Twins. The Twins finally came off the side and found a way to win, and it's a little bit like hockey in that if you play enough baseball games, some good fortune will bestow you and some won't. They got some this week.
Well, you want to know an interesting statistic? In 1991, they started out 2-9.
Just like they started this year.
And won the World Series.
Yep.
I don't know. I think there was something missing. What it was.
Is this a chemistry theory again coming, or what do we got?
I had a long talk with Molitor. Off the record, he was talking about how he's just going crazy. He just didn't know what was going on.
But that was off the record, so repeat.
But all of a sudden, two guys hit home runs in a row yesterday.
And power changes everything, doesn't it, Patrick?
Well, I know what was missing: base hits. You know, it's they had 14 runs in 9 games.
Yeah.
You know,
you're back to your Jeter Cano theory.
I said last week, you look lifeless. And when do you look lifeless in baseball? When you're not hitting.
When you're not running the bases.
You look like you're.
When you're not
lifeless.
putting pressure on people.
I just weren't. You know, nobody was swinging at a strike, and you know, Bunhole Park has now hit 2 home runs, and if they throw him, you know what we know? If they throw him enough hanging sliders, he'll hit some home runs because he hit.
And that'll
one
get you,
yesterday was
if you don't miss those, you can get 12 or 15 just on that.
Their pitching is very good.
Yeah, been pretty good.
Starter's done a very good job. Relief been pretty good. If they could hit continuously like they have in the last 2 games, they could go a long way.
Louis, what's it like inside a franchise, though, when you get off to one of those invisible starts? What's that like? How do you keep the troops rallied, the ticket sales manager happy, all that stuff?
That is really a tough thing.
Yeah.
When you talk about losing streaks in the middle of the year,
it kind of gets morphed in,
that's
doesn't
bad.
it?
Yeah, because you've won some games.
Yeah.
But when you start off not winning, then you start thinking, am I ever going to win another game?
Yep. And the perception becomes...
Yep, reality. And it's something that, you know, people start making jokes about it. You start fabricating these theories about what could happen, and then you start, geez, you think we'll go 20 in a row without a win? And,
they start running out the graphics.
And the one
of all
thing
the other
that you
teams.
forget, you lose sight of, is they count as much as the games at the end of the year. In other words, you lose 9 now, that's a lot. That's 9 games you lost. The Wild won 9 at the beginning of the year, 10, and now at the end of the year they say they limped in. Well, they won those games at the beginning. So you really worry about how disastrous that could be, how it could affect you the whole way.
The thing is, they beat 2 of their best pitchers. Weaver's their ace.
He ain't an ace anymore, brother. He's Frank the Gnat and right-handed at the end of his career, isn't he? I didn't realize that till I watched him pitch.
Yeah, they're paying him like he's an ace, but he's not. But the other guy's good, Richards, yeah.
I mean, they got a pretty good ball club. Certainly a better ball club than the White Sox, except for this. USA Today, in selecting the teams that were going to win the division, picked the White Sox to win the division.
Okay, so they know something. Patrick, Glenn Perkins kind of quietly goes on the DL, quietly because they hadn't needed him hardly to that point. Concerning to you, that position?
He's got a chronic back, neck thing that cannot be fixed surgically. And, you know, people are saying, well, he bailed on him. He's not throwing 91 because he wants to. Yeah. He's not saying, hell, I'm going to go out there and just throw 91. I think, he's you know, you look at him and where's the fastball? He needs the fastball. If he doesn't have the fastball, that slider isn't as good. So, yeah, it's concerning. I wouldn't bet on seeing him for quite a while.
What about How about the catcher? He's hitting 63, Murphy. That turned out.
That's 20 points less. That's 20 points less than Aaron Hicks is hitting. So
63.
Aaron Hicks is hitting 83.
In New York, in the Big Apple.
Hicks is hitting 83. So.
Yeah, what was it? Plouffe was hitting 200, and a day later he's hitting 265. You know, early in the year.
Well, Buxton's not ready to be an outstanding player in this league as a hitter. Sano is not ready either. What's his batting average? Under 200. So they're depending on guys that may not do it.
You want to put Sano on the market, you'd do pretty well.
In a hurry.
You get
he sure looks good getting in the batter's box.
Yeah, he'll be okay. Last year in the first month in Double-A, he hit about 90, and then he got hot. You know, he might be just one of them big fellas that needs a little heat.
You don't want to make a mistake on him.
No.
Louis, you always talk about adjustments during the season. Do you think managerial staffs, hitting coaches, pitching coaches can make many adjustments that really change the direction of a season?
Well, they can, because they can change the way you play, the style you're playing, and who you're playing. So they can affect it in a big way. You know, you could take a coach that. In any sport, you could have, say, a defensive coach, and the next thing you fire him, get an offensive coach, your style is going to change completely, and it's going to.
But I mean, when you can't change the personnel in general.
Well,
yeah,
Can you speak Chinese?
Yeah, I'll learn tomorrow when I go.
Back to his very concerned you're going to Hong Kong and missing the Wild.
I'd never go there. I'd never go there. Well,
you won't go there?
Huh?
Why won't you go there?
I wouldn't go on that cruise. If you gave me $1 million,
kind of a trade mission.
Yeah, because that's like
$1 million.
That's like giving you 20 bucks. I mean, that's no big deal.
I'll guarantee you, I'm telling the truth. $1 million, I wouldn't go.
But that's nothing to you. That's like giving you 20 bucks.
$20 million, man. We can't even get, like you said, we can't even get you to St. Paul, let alone Hong Kong.
I don't need the money, but I wouldn't go.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Escape MSP, the fastest 60 minutes of your life.
Frank, same time next week.
When it drives and looks like new, you'll want to treat it like new. Certified pre-owned by BMW.
Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka.
You're watching CW-23.
Welcome back to the Sports Show. Oh, if you could see between commercial time. Mr. 100%, I'm going to call you. That's what I'm going to call you, 100%, because last week on this show, we were talking about the Timberwolves, and you said 100% Sam Mitchell will be back as coach.
Because the owner told me that.
He told you 100%?
Told me, didn't say 100%. He says...
That's what you said.
Unless something changes, he'll be back. He
100%.
told me that 2 weeks. There's something else behind the scenes on this Sam special deal. Something that
Didn't just happen in the last 2 weeks.
Well, he got in a little trouble when he was at Toronto.
Well,
No, something changed. It was the owner's mind.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Patrick,
I think here's what I would have changed. If I was the owner, I would have called in Towns and Wiggins and say, who do you want?
maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Yeah, I don't know. If they did or not. To me, that's the NBA is the only league where the search committee should be your two best players.
Well, and Louis, this is my exact. If you own the team and you've got an interim coach like this, and you've got these young superstars, it looks like, especially in the NBA, maybe different than hockey, is it fair to go to those players if you're the owner and say, what do you think of the coach?
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it?
No. You got to make those decisions by being around, by looking, by seeing.
You shouldn't need to do that? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. You shouldn't need to do that.
Sid, are you a Thibodeau guy? Do you like him from when he was here before? Thibodeau? You a Thibodeau fan? Thibodeau. You want Thibodeau to be the coach, Tom Thibodeau.
Well, he wants the job.
Well, he'd be.
Well, who do you want?
But they got a dark horse.
Who?
The guy in Connecticut who won the...
the university guy. Ollie.
That's a double.
Yeah.
He's a former Timberwolf who won the championship, and all of a sudden, from a very good source, I'm told he's one of the 5. They're going to try and get the Memphis guy, too. They're talking
That'd
about
cost you a first
he's
round
got a
draft
long
choice.
contract.
David Yeager.
That'd cost you a first round draft
wants the job. And if they don't hire him, they're crazy.
Yeah.
How about Scott Brooks?
Huh?
How about Scott Brooks or Mark Jackson?
No, not Mark Jackson.
Not
Mark
Jackson.
He's not in
get
the
along
run.
with anybody.
They got 5 guys.
But
The 5 guys are accurate that was published.
But here-
They got Scotty Brooks.
Got more than that.
They got Pidio. No, they don't have. They don't have.
Pidio.
They don't have.
Thibodeau.
They don't have anybody else.
Burville's cousin.
Those are the 5 guys they're talking to.
More than that.
Yorger probably cost you a first round draft choice, though. He'd be the slam dunk if he,
Okay,
if he could get him, don't you think?
But let me ask you this. Are you hiring a coach? Or are you going to hire the director of basketball operations first?
Well, I'm going to hire, if it's Thibodeau or Brooks or
They're
Yorger,
both?
they're both, probably.
Louis, what would you do with that? Would you get? Do you have to have somebody in the management office separate from the coach?
Well, you will have somebody separate from a coach, even if you hired the coach first, because then he'll get somebody to do a lot of his other work.
Have to do his
Well,
job.
that's easy, but
That's
I'm
easy,
seeing a
but-
true director of basketball operations that
I would
hires
hire.
the coach.
I would hire the director of basketball operations first.
And if it happened to be the coach too, it might be a guy that is both.
Right.
Mr. Judd Hughes was Bud Grant's backfield coach in 1980. So that tells you a little story.
1982 and 3. And then he was Chuck Knowles, and then he got out of.
What did I miss here?
I don't know.
He's a guy Taylor hired Judd Hughes, who I know very well.
You're talking about search committee.
Who was Bud Grant's backfield coach in 1980.
Yeah, okay, for Corn Ferry. He worked for Corn Ferry.
82 and 3.
Yeah.
He basically is a real big hitter there. So.
Yeah, Corn Ferry is a huge thing, and they place people, just for people that don't know, they've gotten into the sports industry, but they do a lot of high-end
Kevin
executives.
Ollie does nothing for me.
Me either.
That's
Me
a
neither.
single to right field. You got it right now. You've already set the public up that you're going to hit a home run with this hire. You better do it.
Yeah, because
I predict they'll have a coach by Friday.
Okay.
Because that coach has got to be involved in the draft. The draft is April. What is it?
No, it's not till June.
June.
End of June.
They got to. Well,
Max.
it's pretty soon anyway.
Maxie, how old's your oldest child?
12.
Your 12-year-old could make this pick. You look at the list and you're picking 5th or 6th, and who's ever there you take. Buddy
for the
Hield's
draft.
there.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's one of the
NBA
most
draft.
over. Yeah.
Maybe the second round, but it's not like,
Yeah, that guy's there for trades and free agents.
Yes.
But the draft, no, take a break,
take
come
who's
back.
ever there.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go? I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I'd go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I'd go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, the Wild, the Timberwolves, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins. Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, For details, go to TicketKingOnline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
Take every step without hesitation. Anticipate your next move with certainty. Because our trusted advisors help you prepare for challenges specific to your business. Our focus is always on you, so your focus is always forward. Experience the power of being understood. RSM, Audit, Tax, and Consulting for the Middle Market.
You are watching CW-23.
Welcome back to the sports show. Go first, Sid. What do we know about the athletic director search? I had Bob Stein in the other night. He very much wants this position.
Well, if I was a president of the University of Minnesota, that's the kind of guy I'd hire.
Lynn Swan goes to USC.
I'd get him and give him the world. I'd get a guy like Bob Stein. I'd get a guy like Peter Najarian. I'd get a businessman who can work with the 500 people. Lynn Swan, I don't know why he got the job. He must be in with the president.
Could be. Patrick?
Yeah, well, I guess we turned on Beth Getz then, huh? I don't know.
Not if she gets it.
No, I don't know who's, I think you could hire I think they're going to have very good candidates, and they should go through a full process, and I got a guy I'd like to see get the job, but I don't want to throw his name out there. So.
I think what Patrick said is accurate. They're going to have a number of good candidates, and I'd like to see them.
Good or great?
I think there's a couple great candidates. And I do think that the search committee, and I mean the whole search committee, the whole 16, not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, should talk to them all so they get a feel for them.
No,
and then they go to the president and
the only guy missing from this search committee is Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Would you have fired Sam Mitchell?
Would I have fired Sam Mitchell? I don't know enough about it, but I liked what he did. I thought he did a good job.
But you don't know what was going on.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay. So
there's something behind this.
Well, he and Milton Newton weren't getting along. That's part of it.
What?
He and Milton Newton, not Milton your driver, Milton Newton.
Milton Newton ain't going to be there either.
It doesn't matter. You can still poison the waters. Take a look, Sid. Give us your final take. Sid on Sid.
I think they'll hire a guy from Chicago.
Tom Thibodeau.
Tom Thibodeau.
Okay.
That's what I said.
And if you hire him, you're getting he'll bring in his own Milt Newton, right? But he'll run the whole
Have to
operation.
be, otherwise he wouldn't probably come. See you back
Plus
here next
he's
week,
6 or 7 mil. Ooh.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Escape MSP, the fastest 60 minutes of your life. RSM. This is the power of being understood. This is RSM. BMW of Minnetonka. Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka. And Bobby and Steve's Auto World. Go to BobbyandSteve'sAutoWorld.com for huge savings on everything from convenience store items to everything under the hood of your car.